guys. I wasn't really thinking that I would do another video today, given that I've done my kind of normal daily catch up and then the ginormous gastric post. But I was feeling really super accomplished and I'm also feeling really nauseous. So I haven't really been able to eat much, and actually doing another video will take my mind off the nausea for a bit, hopefully. So that's what I'm going to do. So here is an update for you on something else that has happened in the very big gap between when I last was talking to you all and now. I officially now have a diagnosis of PoTS, which, if you don't know what that is, it stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And it's something that's really common with people who have Ehlers-Danlos loss. So basically what happens is this. In a healthy person, when you stand up, all the blood rushes down to your feet, and if you're healthy, your arteries are stretchy enough to push everything back up to your brain quickly enough that your brain doesn't notice that the blood's all gone away for a bit. For people with Ehlers-Danlos, our arteries and veins are stretchier than normal. And let me just say this, heat makes veins and arteries even stretchier still, so hot weather is especially bad for people who have Ehlers-Danlos and PoTS. So yeah, for people with PoTS and EDS, what happens is they stand up and the blood rushes down to their feet, the same as it would for a healthy person. But then because our arteries are a little bit too stretchy, it takes longer for it to all get pushed back up to your brain, and that can lead to blacking out. It also can lead to what's called tachycardia, which is a really, really fast heart rate, which is because your heart is kind of freaking out and going, oh my god, the brain doesn't have any blood in it, I'm going to pump everything faster to try and make sure that it's okay. And one of the diagnostic criteria for PoTS is an increase of 30 beats a minute or more of your heart rate when you go from sitting to standing. So I had what's called a Holter monitor test, oh my gosh, all the way back in April or May last year. So it's a 24-hour monitor that they fit you with, and it measures your heart rate, and you have to do various activities while you're wearing it as well. So you have to lay down for 5 minutes and then stand up, so they can see, like, they'll definitely see you do that activity and they can see your body's response to it. It monitors you overnight, so it can see what you're sleeping, what your true resting heart rate is, and the difference between that and then when you wake and stand up in the morning. And then the second phase of the lovely tests, they take you into a testing room where they do various things to try and obviously kind of induce your heart rate response. They're not horrible tests, but they aren't exactly what you'd call pleasant. Like one of them is having your hand in some ice water for a few minutes, because obviously that kind of mimics a pain response, which then makes your heart go faster. So they then can track, you know, just how fast does your heart rate go. And then the kind of the finale of it is what's called the tilt table. So on a table that's completely flat, they'll lay you on it, strap you in really well, and then really slowly raise it from here all the way up to almost standing. And the problem is, well, not problem, but the thing is that because you are strapped on the table, you are not actively engaging the muscles you would normally use to stand up, which means that the blood can pool in your legs in a way that it wouldn't do if you were standing up, because your legs aren't putting in, there's no pressure in your legs. So the tilt table is a really useful test for them to see kind of how bad this gets. If you pass out, obviously they'll look after you, like if you pass out. If you find that it's just too much, then they will turn the table back to flat and stop the test. I managed I think about 18 minutes, and the nurse that was doing the test was looking at me and kind of going, you're clearly not having a good time, are you? My feet went kind of purple, kind of black purple during the tilt table test, but then my legs go kind of really dark and splotchy if I'm just standing in the bathroom for too long anyway. And this is another thing with the PoTS, is it's not just the arteries, it's blood generally just staying lower in your body than it should do. So you might find that if you're in the bathroom and you're standing there for a while, I don't know, putting makeup on or brushing your teeth or waxing your legs or whatever, I notice that if I'm doing something like this, after maybe a couple of minutes, my lower legs, particularly from the knee down, will go quite sort of dark and mottled. And at that point, I think, okay, I need to be really careful now and maybe just go and have a sit down before anything so bad, anything worse happens. So that's kind of all the diagnostic stuff that they use to see whether you have PoTS or not. And I do. Passed. I don't know whether you call it passing or failing the test. I guess passing the test? I don't know. Anyway, they once they confirmed this, I got a letter with detail of all of the results, and it's really good because it means that I get disability benefits here. So it's just another thing that I can use to help them understand that my health problems are real and are there. I think sometimes because these are invisible problems for the most part, it can be quite difficult for people to appreciate how poorly you are. And certainly I've had kind of negative responses sometimes in the past if I've been out and I've been walking with my stick and maybe asked someone if they would kind of get out of the way. Well, not get out of the way, but if they would possibly move over to give me some more room. And people react quite badly, I think, because they look and see someone who looks healthy. And I've had taxi drivers and even medical professionals say, oh, well, you don't look disabled. Well, what does disabled look like? Should I be missing an eye or not have a hand or a leg? You know, if we can answer this question, then we can really start to better figure out why we have this misconception in the first place, and hopefully then better treat people with invisible disabilities, because there are so many things that people can have that just aren't visible at all. And I didn't realise this, I have to admit, before my health got so bad. And of course, you don't know what you don't know. And the more you learn, sometimes the more you learn as well. And I definitely feel like I've learned a heck of a lot over the last couple of years and all of these various problems, especially kind of all medical related things. Any year now, I'm going to be able to become a medical professional, I'm sure. So yeah, there's not really too much to report on that front, because after I had the test, there was quite a long wait to go and see the consultant to discuss the results, because she's quite a high up specialist in this field. The general field is called autonomic dysfunction, and the autonomic nervous system also controls things like so if you have autonomic dysfunction, you might also have something like Raynaud's syndrome, which is where if you get cold, your fingers, your hands can go white, and the circulation basically just kind of pulls back from the extremities. And I have Raynaud's as well. When it was really hot last summer, I walked around a supermarket in the refrigerated section for maybe 15 minutes, and my fingers went a really horrific colour and really quite painfully tingling and burning feeling. And it took a good 45 minutes to hour afterwards, out in the 30+ degree Celsius heat, for them to actually come back to a normal temperature and have normal circulation again. So anyway, the specialist, I finally saw her I think back in November, at the end of November, yeah, that was it. And she's going to refer me to a PoTS management clinic, which is more about lifestyle changes that you can do to support it. The difficulty I have in that field is that because of my gastroparesis, I am very limited in what I can drink and eat, which means that I struggle to take in enough fluid and enough salt on a day-to-day basis. Increasing both of these can have a really positive effect on the PoTS symptoms. So unfortunately, I'm at a real disadvantage for managing my PoTS because of my gastroparesis. So that's something that my health medical professionals need to be quite wary of, and kind of try and make sure that they find a way of working around. So I'm sure that this clinic, management clinic, will be useful. But then I will go back to see her afterwards. She's already suggested a medication change for me. I switched from propranolol to bisoprolol because apparently the bisoprolol has a smaller effect on your, I think she said, your blood pressure. So that kind of just targets what you need it to be doing a bit better. But yeah, after the clinic, at some point, I'll go back to see her. But I haven't heard anything about the clinic yet. I'm guessing it probably has a fairly big wait because maybe they only run it like once or twice a month. And if there's loads of people getting referred onto it, then the wait's probably going to be quite big. So that's a bit of a generic update for you. There's nothing really specifically kind of happening at the moment, but it's another name to add to the ever-increasing collection. And it's also another thing that kind of explains just a little bit more why some of the things that are a bit wonky in my body are wonky the way they are. Okay, that's it. I will sign off for now, and I will see you all again very soon. Please comment and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.